Hello, and welcome back to my little single player world. I have got something very special planned for this little spot that I am standing in right here. I've got it all kind of generally planned out in my head, the general ideas, but nothing concrete, which is kind of exciting because that means I get to create the concrete things here in the world with you instead of like having it planned out and creative first, which I realize was kind of a boring way to do things that I did for a while. It was the easier way to get it done, where I would just record a segment at the beginning, then do the whole build where I just like 3D printed it because I had the schematic ready and I would just put all the blocks in the right place. And then I'd record another segment where it was done, and then that would be that. But I think it's actually kind of cool to go through the process with you guys and actually like work through the problems and like the step by step. And I think that'll be kind of fun. And I have got a lot of inspiration for this little area. But you might be wondering where the heck this is and why there's a bridge over here and some of the other things that might have changed in this world because I've been gone for a little bit. And that's just because I haven't had too much inspiration for the last many months, I guess it's been, which people always talk about burnout and stuff. And I don't ever consider myself having burnout because I feel like burnout is only a thing if you like try to push through it, right? Where you don't have an idea, but you're trying to create ideas anyways. And that's like a bad recipe, right? I think it's just if you don't have ideas and you're not inspired, then just take a break and do something else. And that's what I did for a while. But now I've been slowly working on my little world here for a bit, including this little bridge and some other stuff I'll show you in just a second. And I finally decided to start actually recording stuff and making videos again because of the inspiration that I've gotten. And I did see some comments from you guys recently, which were very nice, asking about where I was, how I was doing, because you guys had missed my videos. So it was a little bit of an extra push to actually go from just like starting back up in my world and building things to actually like making a video about it. So first off, here's a new little bridge that I made. This is the first, well, actually last thing that I made most recently. But it's very nice. So the fun thing about this bridge, I probably could have made a whole video about this little tiny bridge just by itself. But I wanted to keep the theme that was the big bridge above, which looks really bad from this side because it's floating over there and there's no decorated train on either side. But the bridge kind of design, it was meant to be like an Art Deco inspiration of like details, which I don't know if I really understand Art Deco fully. So don't judge me if this isn't what that means, but this is my interpretation of Art Deco, and I wanted to try to keep some of those thematic themes to the smaller bridge too, so they looked kind of cohesive. And that's going to be a cohesive theme, hopefully running throughout this part of my world, extending out this way, past the big bridge, which is why I've started marking out some things way over there. But I wanted this bridge to follow that. That's the important part I'm trying to get to. But obviously you can't fit too many details in a tiny bridge compared to a giant one. So I was struggling for a bit to figure out exactly how, but I made some just straight little lines across with some little like ups and downs in the middle and the edges. And I think it's so simple, but it's just enough to like, it's that theme, but down and small. And I love it. It is a very nice little bridge, though it is a little thin when you actually like come up here to walk on it. It feels kind of thin, but I feel like it's the right proportions. If I made it any wider, it would also feel weird in different directions. So I think this is good. I extended my little walkway down here a little bit, just a little to connect up to the bridge. And we're gonna have to talk about this area real quick. So if I go into free cam, because this is the best way to explain it, but I don't know what you call it, the road here. We're just gonna call it that. I don't know what you call like with the wall and the water. I don't have words for that. But the road here used to go this way, and it used to go out a little bit more before like going back, and then this. And that like jut out kind of made it so if you were walking down this road, you couldn't quite see all the way over here because there was like a big piece of dirt in the way. So you had to like go all the way around it over to like here to actually see anything behind the bridge. But I wanted it to be like right when you turn this corner, you can immediately see stuff. So I got rid of that, made the walkway and the road and whatever a little bit straighter. And I think it looks a lot better, and it's a lot more of what I envisioned for this bridge kind of framing what's behind it. That's the word. But you'll notice that the frame is a little obstructed because now that I've moved the big dirt and the big stone and the whatever, This tree that we had made, I think literally last episode, is now in the way because I want this tower to be the centerpiece, which unfortunately we're not working on today, but that'll be a future project. But I think this tree is gonna have to go at some point. Maybe not in today's video. It can be moved, so maybe it won't be totally gone, but it just can't be here because I want like, if I just moved the tree, I'd want the leaves like top to be like down here where like the bottom of the leaves are. So I'd have to move it quite a bit. Or we just move it to a totally different area and we just put something else over here. I'm not quite sure, but it can't be right there. That's kind of what I've decided. So maybe I'll save it as a schematic and move it somewhere else. It has been a little bit bothering me, the shape of it. It's a little weird. It's a little good, it's a little weird, not quite sure. But okay, let's go down this way and let's actually show you all what other stuff I've been working on. Actually, if we go up here, you will see a very familiar tree. If you remember the tree, that is. So over in the Rotten Block server, I made a beautiful little park, which you haven't seen that video, you definitely should, just to like see the end result. You don't even have to watch the whole thing. But the park is gorgeous. And this was the centerpiece tree. And it's probably like one of the best trees I've made yet. And so when I was trying to figure out what to put here, I was like, I just want a nice tree and I love that tree. So I'm just going to put that tree here, which is great. That's what I did. And then I extended out some of the wheat around, and I want to do even some more where the wheat maybe goes down a little bit, kind of comes up to this side a little bit better, and then also build into this whole mountain area over here a bit better because it's got weird caves and stuff in the entrance to my like redstone stuff. But we won't actually be working on any of this today also, even though I've got some inspiration for at least some of this area. This honestly might be the type of project I just do like off camera because it's such like a minor little area, at least not the big cliff. That's a big job. But the whole cliff thing, I'm still struggling with. This part of the cliff, I really like. I use some Axiom tools to get like the different texturing and stuff in there. And I really like the brown and the grays and the mixture there. And I'm thinking maybe I need to do that type of texturing on this because this needs to get textured. Because this is a big project that I never finished, and I've been putting it off for a while, and I should really get around to finishing it because it keeps on showing up in the things I'm doing off in this direction when we keep on looking this way, and it's just ugly. So that might honestly be like, even though I don't want to do it, I should probably do it sooner rather than later so it stops looking ugly. But okay, let's continue down this way, and we can already see a bit of a new build. We've got one build over here and another over here. Now, these new ones that I've been making, I haven't been doing interiors, which I do like doing interiors, but it's just a lot of space that I have planned for what's coming along this road that I decided I just kind of need to come out with like a lot of buildings. And what I kind of realized is some of these buildings, these two over here are like copies of each other. So they're not exactly unique, but like they're very detailed inside and outside, including this one over here, even though this one didn't have an interior in there. This one's also very detailed. This one's also very different. I always try to do like new, unique things with a lot of these buildings. And it's very cool, but it takes like a lot of time just to get like a little section of the city done. But what I realize is like not every part of the city has to be special. So I've got some buildings over here where this one over on the side, I wanted it to be a little bit more special. So I made a little like rooftop area up here. Just because it's on the corner, I wanted it to be special. But I still wanted it to be easy to just like build it, not have to think about it too much. It's very of the same nature of the one next to it. It's got the same, like, I don't know what you call this, the horizontal lines going across, made of the exact same material. It's got a bit of a different where the bottom's but like that bottom is the same as that bottom pretty much. All the windows are exactly the same across all of them. The balconies are just kind of the same across. And so it's just a lot of things that are just repetitive that I can just kind of throw together just to create new buildings. So this was never going to be something that I was going to make into a video all on its own. And I'll probably continue extending this area with more buildings, just like off camera, because I don't think they're like the centerpiece of a video. They're more just background pieces that then get us to future areas up the mountain that'll be more exciting for like an actual proper video idea. And we'll actually come over here where I've got some more buildings. I think these ones, they were actually the first ones I made of like this type of building, and I think they kind of turned out better. I think just like the coloring of them next to each other, and how they like stagger up the hill look really good. And I love this one with the little window at the top. I'm quite a fan of this area if you can't tell. We'll have to see how the other side looks because it is very smooth and repetitive, and you can tell that. So I'm hoping that it won't look too barren by the time there's like buildings here and buildings here, and hopefully it'll look good. But we've also got this little corner shop, which is very nice. It's got a little market out front that I made. I had some fun decorating the little bit of outside, and there's just barely an interior in here, like the bare minimum of like what you can see through that window. And then there's actually one of the LA torture XP farms up here, that has the silverfish come down here, and then you kill them with the sword. So I've been using that recently to get XP because before I had like nothing. I had like just a zombie spawner that I was using as XP, and it's like that's not gonna last me with how much like my tools get used, and it just wasn't gonna work. So this is actually really useful. Though I should probably properly decorate the rest of the interior. And then the outside of this building, also pretty plain, not too much going on. It's got a little fun area on the side. But I think the kind of the point is like a lot of these don't have to be super unique and interesting. They could just be a nothing building kind of filling out the rest of the city for the special unique ones that are the actual centerpieces, right? Like this museum, which this side doesn't look great because it's going to be covered by stuff. Okay, I think that's enough of what I've been up to. I think that's all of it in this world. Oh my gosh, car crash. I think that's enough of what I've been up to. So let's go over to the area over here while I try to steer while not looking forward, which is very dangerous. And we'll get to planning out exactly what this area is going to look like. Okay, it started raining, but I think that's fine. I've got my thoughts together. And the first order of business is that on the other side of this bridge over here, we're going to need to be building a little bit of terrain so it actually connects up to the bridge fully instead of just dropping off. And then also smoothing out into the area that we're actually going to go over here, and then maybe also trying to smooth up the hillside in the back. And then I'll also probably try to plan out exactly where the buildings are going to go, or building, I should say. There's not multiple. But let's actually talk through what I've got planned for over here. So actually, the best way to explain this is what comes out of the bridge, right? Directly, the bridge road is going to go this way, and then it's actually going to go mostly off in this direction. This way over here is going to be like a minor, like, off path. I don't know, a little bit of, like, not the major part of the road. The major part of the road goes this way, up to that tower area. It'll wind its way over here, probably fill in this little pond, because that's right in the way of where I want the road to go. But it'll come up this way, just a nice little windy path. Not anything modern like we've had before over here. This is going to be a much more, like, medieval or just, like, more ancient or primitive technology, maybe is the better way to say it. Stuff that isn't, like, modern like the rest of the builds in this world, because I want to do some different things, and I think going off to this area to be able to do it is a good place to do it, instead of just building something more ancient or medieval or whatever, like, off in the city. That would make sense. So anyways, the road's going to come up here, nice and winding up, little, like, dirt road or whatever, and it's going to come up the mountain over here, up to this tower, and then I'm going to create a bridge that comes across over here to this part of the land. And then I was also thinking, if we get off the horse for a second, there's a bit of, like, water that goes in over here just to, I think it's a little cave area. I don't think it goes much more, but I thought it'd be nice. You can see how there's a land bridge here. I thought it'd be nice to make an actual bridge over to the other side of the land and then just get rid of the land bridge itself. So we'll have, like, two bridges attached to the tower, one coming from this direction and then one going over there. And we'll have to remove the pillager outpost in the background, creating not the scenery that I want. And unfortunately, I don't think you can get rid of the pillager spawning there. So we're just never going to build anything, like, immediately there. The road that comes off of the bridge over here will probably snake down this way so that we don't go over there, which is really unfortunate. That's, like, a beautiful area to build, like, a nice little area in the plains. Okay, so that's what we've got planned over here. And if we continue down this way, now, like I said, the main part of the road will go over here, but another little side part, a little, like, extra little spindly path, I don't know, it's Gonna go over here, over to a little cabin nestled away with some trees over to the right, kind of sheltering it between like the trees and the mountain behind it. And I think if I can get this right as I imagine it in my head, it's gonna look very cozy, very chill, and that's exactly the vibe that I'm going for today. Um, and one of the benefits of having trees over here, besides just kind of like snuggling it into like a little hole, is that if we view it from all the way on this side, over here, you hopefully won't be able to see the cabin as you look through this little frame that I've have put, because I want your focus to be on the tower eventually off in the distance once that exists. So again, this tree is going to be gone, the tower will be the centerpiece, and then there'll be some small trees, because they're smaller, because they're far away, just kind of hiding the cabin from your point of view. You'll only be able to see it once you get over here. Okay, I've slept the rain away. I am ready to make some terrain and start planning out exactly where the cabins and the trees are going to go. And I'll probably bring you guys back either after the train, and maybe I just like make some squares of where I'm thinking like the cabin goes and the trees. I will see you then. Update. It's kind of looking weird, but we're making good progress. So I filled out this area over here to make it into a little cliff that kind of leads up to the bridge. Same over here. I just have done it all with dirt right now, though I should probably throw in some stone in there. But then that means I have to texture it. So that's like a future me problem because I'm not really feeling it right now. But what I am feeling is the main attraction, which is the cabin in the trees. I'm really looking forward to this part. And so I've started planning out exactly how things are going to look. Got a little bit of a road planned out here and also down this way. And then I just filled over the top of where the pond used to be, which is like right here. So that it's kind of smoother off into over there. Seeing how things are looking. And okay, so these big posts obviously are going to be the trees. This rectangle over here, obviously going to be the little cabin. And kind of how I decided with the trees is I started out with just this big one here because I was like, that's a nice one just to have directly next to the cabin. Honestly, hopefully it's not too close to the cabin. It will hopefully have some branches coming over. And I'm expecting these to be conifer trees. I'm learning more tree facts, like names of trees. So conifers are like the evergreen trees. There's a lot of different like types that fall under them. And I don't know if they're going to be more spruce or pine or fir. There's like a bunch of different types, but they all kind of look the same. So at the end of the day, I don't think it matters too much in terms of Minecraft stuff. But that's the types of trees that I'm going to make. Like their tops are going to be where the tops are here. And honestly, the trees might be a little short. Like this one especially, that's like not much room if that's going to be the top. Like it's going to be a tiny little tree. B-dubs would be very upset with me with tree sizes, but the big thing is, and I'll go into free cam so I can quickly get over here, but from this point of view, which is the frame that we're making, right? And we're going to remove this tree. I don't want to be blocking more of the view with more trees. So I'm just going to remove that one. So if these are just the tippy tops of the trees and they're all going down from there, that's going to not block much. This one will block the most, but I think it'll do a good job framing in the main attraction here. And then all along the path, it also is well framed, also hiding the cabin. Because even from over here, you won't be able to see much. Or you'll probably be able to see a bit of it, but it'll just be kind of hidden. And you'll have to go all the way to like start getting on the bridge before you actually see the front of it. And you like can fully see it. And then you obviously see it more as you come across. And I think that's nice. Having the reveal of it, that you have to come all the way around to see it. And then same from this direction over here. This is another thought I had, was how is it going to look as you're coming down from the mountain up here? And I think it looks really good. That's why I put this tree more close towards us currently on this side of the building, so that it would hide a little bit off on the sides so you can see just like a peek of it. And then as you get closer, you see more and more of it. And then it just reveals the whole thing. And I think that's pretty cool. I was watching one of B-Dubs' videos a couple months ago where he like described his process and everything and how he's got like the one point of view in that video of like, here's the point of view and it's got to look good from there. But I kind of want this to look good from multiple angles, which is why I'm thinking of so much of like, what's it's going to look like over here, over here, over there, like right in front of it. Like, I don't know. I want it to be an integrated part of the world that, like, when I'm riding around my horse to go places, it feels picturesque, right? And so I'm hoping that's how it's going to turn out. Um, and then as for block palette, I'm thinking a little bit of like a red cabin, some redwood, some mangrove, and then maybe some sort of brown roof, whether that be like spruce, or I was even going to think maybe trying like mud bricks. I don't know which one will be the right color. I'll just kind of experiment with things. And honestly, the cabin's not going to be that big. There's not much space to make it big. You know, it's not going to be like a towering structure. It's just going to be a nice little squat cabin. And yeah. So I think the next step is work on the cabin, which I will do. I might bring you guys back right after that. And then I think it's working on the trees afterwards to fit around the cabin shape that I make. And then maybe after that, probably do some landscaping, make it not quite so barren around here. Maybe do some rock formations over on the cliffside and pretty it up a bit. But got to start out with the cabin first. So see you in a bit. Update. The build is like a completely different color palette than what I was talking about previously. So I tried a lot of different things, and the redwood, the mangrove, just wasn't working for me. I really wanted it to be like the strip logs like I have for the spruce here, but it just wasn't working. And then the roof, I tried to do mud, it was too light. Then I tried to do spruce, which looked okay, but then this part didn't look good. And then when I make this spruce, you can't have the roof spruce too. So then I just decided to make it some stone, but a lighter stone compared to the bottom. I also shrank the dimensions of it. Used to be wider, one in every single direction. I made it a bit smaller, shoved it back just one block, I think, also after I made it smaller. And I'm really liking how it looks now. I feel like this is kind of what I imagined in my head. I just thought like the red was going to be like a fun quirk added on top of it. But I think just bog standard spruce kind of looks better in this case. And I'm trying out some fun things with these shelves. So I did see, I don't know whose video it was, but I saw someone else use it as the like shutters on windows, putting a little something in there, and I thought that looked great. I decided to split up this window because you can do that with the shelves. And then I also hid shelves over here to kind of make it the same color so it isn't like spruce back here. You can't do that obviously up and down, but that's fine. And then for the door, I also use shelves, and I think the door I'm really happy with, honestly. It's a shame you can't actually use it as a door, because like I would love to use something like that as a door. But then once I sealed in the building, I made it so you couldn't actually get in. I figured I might as well do that with the windows, because I was struggling with what to like glass, or B-Dubs always puts the scaffolding in there, though I probably would have put it like in this block where the shelf is. But once the door was sealed, I just put some bone blocks back there, and I actually quite like it because this part of the shelf, right, kind of makes like a round look, and the bone block being circular in the back kind of finishes off the other side of the roundness without actually having a shelf there because you can't fit, two in one block. So overall, I think it looks good. The one downside is when you're coming off from this direction, because I'm thinking about all perspectives here. You can't exactly see into the windows, which always bugs me when you like set back a window by one, is that when you're like off on the side, you can't really tell too much that it's a window. You can infer it, but it's like you have to get closer, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely window now. Back there, there was a chance it wasn't window. And then some fun other little things. I always like on my little cabins having a little thing off to the side for like wood storage, because assumably they're burning wood in there for their heat in their home. And then I've also got the chimney over here, which I did a nice big B-Dubs chimney. Sometimes I do smaller ones. I always like having the actual campfire because I like the movement of it. Though I do like some of the ones other people make where they're like swirly and stuff. So maybe later I could go back and make like a swirly thing, but I really like the movement. The movement always appeals to me, and it's also a lot simpler as long as you make it wide enough to hide a campfire in there. But okay, now it's time to actually move on to the trees around here. And so I actually made a tree a little bit before even I started this project over in Creative. And that's what it looks like right here. I put it right over that spot of where the pillar was, but you'll notice I wanted this to be the top of the tree, and there's a lot more tree on top of that, the one that I just did for fun and creative. So I obviously can't just copy and paste this one around to these, though you can kind of see maybe what I'm looking for in shape and stuff. I just have to make it smaller. And you can see the problem from over here where it's just a bit too tall, because if all the trees were this big, like that much extra on top, it'd just be dominating too much of the space and kind of ruining the frame. Whereas I feel like if we keep them that short, it won't ruin the frame too much, which I think it's good. It'll be a bit of a shame to make a bunch of short trees, because I do really like this nice tall one. But I think for the sake of framing things, it's got to get shorter. Also, something to talk about with this tree, I was looking up more tree facts, and I think it's fir trees that are kind of shaped like this, where their branches more go on like a downward angle. Where I think it was the pine and the spruce ones that I was looking at, they're like slightly curved up at the end. So they go out and then up as opposed to down. I mean, sometimes they obviously get weighted down, or sometimes they're just straight across. There's plenty of those. But if there was going to be a direction on those other ones, it'd be up, actually. So I thought it might be fun to at least try with a tree or something to see if like the more leaning upwards direction looks good. If not, I do like the leaning downwards version. I mean, obviously I made it, so I can see it right here, and I like how it looks. But I don't know, we'll try the other version too. And I'll just try to experiment, and hopefully these small little trees will look good. Update. I've got a bit of progress on the trees. I decided to do like a halfway update where I've just completed all the branches, which probably isn't even halfway yet because the leaves will take even longer, I suspect. But this is how I've been making trees recently, and I thought it'd be nice to kind of share my process by just sharing this part of it. So I always do the branches first nowadays, completing all the different directions and everything, and then I actually fill it in with leaves afterwards. See, this is how the trees are looking. I think they honestly look kind of nice, just like without any leaves. Now, I did put a little bit of leaves on the top, which is kind of goofy looking, but I wanted to make sure they were like the correct height that I had planned out earlier. So that's why I normally wouldn't just put weird leaves on the top. But if you try to ignore the leaves, I mean, it's kind of like cool just by itself. It does blend right into the background. And I do still want it to be like lush green leaves, but like, you could totally just do this type of trees just without leaves, and like that would work. That looks pretty cool just by itself. Also, I didn't do this tree over here because I was looking at the size of this tree versus this tree, and they're almost the exact same height for what I planned out. I think this one's technically one block shorter. And what I'm kind of thinking is maybe if I do this one first, save it as a schematic, and then place the tree over here, but maybe like turn it like 90 degrees or something. And then obviously get rid of like the bottom block. And then I just won't have to design an extra tree. I could just reuse whatever that one looks like, as long as I'm happy with it. So I'm thinking I might do that to make my life a little bit easier. But otherwise, that is the end of my quick little update. I finished the builds. I kind of did two steps in one. I not only finished the trees, but I also finished all the landscaping. So hopefully you're okay with that I kind of forgot to do the update in between of just the finished trees. But I'm just admiring it from over here, from this perspective, and I'm really liking how it looks. I had to make a couple of the trees just a tad bit taller for their shape to be correct, because of how it turned out, and I had to kind of cut off some of the branches and whatever just to fit the leaves in, and I think it's turned out really good. Some of the trees were a little wonky at the beginning, but as we get closer, I just love all the perspectives of this area. Like as you get closer, even over here, you can start to see little tufts of pink over here, which is something I did on the Rotten Block server. In the little park/pond area that I had, where I'd put these two tall grasses in front of them, so you'd only get like little hints of pink, and some of them you can see kind of fully depending on your angle, but I think that's okay. For the most part, they're just kind of hidden, just little tufts. And even this perspective over here, like this is great. You're never gonna just sit here and look at it, but like the trees and the different sizes just look great there. And as you get closer, the reveal of it is great. And then this. And this is a great view. I mean, everything has a great view. Everything just feels so nice around here. Even if you're coming off from this direction, this feels like a great perspective. Even if I go all the way up here, because this is another one we were looking at earlier, you can't see too much of the details from up here, just like you can't see too much from the far end. But I feel like the trees just poke up nice. If anything, the background beyond it, like that tree over there, is kind of ruining things. Including that whole build, honestly. The wall and everything, that just needs to get redone. Probably that tree too, and that tree needs to get moved. But if you ignore all the background stuff, the actual build here, it's looking great. And if I actually fly up, you can see a little bit more of some of the patches of stuff that I made, which is kind of a shame that these little wildflowers that were from the recent update, you can only really admire them if you're looking down on them. Because when you're like on the horse over here, you can see like barely any of it. I don't even know if it'll show up too much with the compression on YouTube, because it's just like thin little lines of yellow, which is why I use these flowers. Because they're the same kind of colors, a little bit more white than yellow, but you get the same sort of feel, but just vertical instead of just flat, which I feel like they should have added some verticality to these flat little flowers. But you know, it's still good. And you get little bits of the pink flowers over there. And this rock over here, I'm not usually good at texturing, and I did the minimal amount on this rock, but I think it looks great. And the slope and I don't know, just everything I feel like turned out so well that I'm just so happy with how things are looking. Now, while we admire the build over here, I've got a bit of an announcement. For those of you that know Rotten Block, the SMP server that I play on with some of my friends, the season is coming to a close very soon. I will be hopefully making a video on it before the season is actually over, but for season 2, we will be looking for new members. So we're looking for people that already have established Minecraft channels. Not that you need to have a big channel or anything, it can be small, but we're just looking for people that are already committed to making Minecraft content, so that we know that you're going to be committed to making Minecraft on the server as well. But if you are someone who has your own channel and would like to play on the server with us and make some beautiful things on the server with us, we have all kinds of players on there: builders, redstoners, people that like stories, people that don't like stories. We've got everyone. So I will leave down in the description a link to an application form, just a short little thing. And yeah. And I think with that, I am going to leave it here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the build. I for sure have. The feel of this place is just magnificent. Like, even if you get closer, the trees just looking up into the branches, oh, it feels great. I am so in love with this area. It makes me wish that this door worked so I could actually go inside. Oh, and a bonus thing, actually, for those of you that haven't already clicked off, these over here, this used to be bone blocks, now they're frog lights. I want to tell you, I don't have a frog light farm. I had to get these. I had to go like thousands of blocks away to go find a frog, go get some of the tadpoles, bring them back. Luckily, these are from the temperate frogs, so all I did was I spawned, or let one of the tadpoles grow up over here. I brought them into the nether, and then I just walked them over to some magma cubes, which was a whole ordeal, but it was an easy way instead of having to set up a whole farm, which I probably should do in the future for the other colors. But I just wanted you guys to appreciate that. I think this is the better block choice, because not only does it produce light, but it also still has that round effect that I liked with the bone blocks. But okay, I'll actually leave it here now. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.